Welcome to Science Circle. In this video, we will be discussing about the following topics: the parts of the human digestive system, the process of digestion, the function of each and every organ of human digestive system, and we will learn about the different enzymes which helps in digestion. This is our digestive system, which you can see consists of two parts: the alimentary canal and the digestive glands. The alimentary canal is a muscular tube which starts with the mouth and ends at the anus. It is about 9 meters long and is highly coiled in certain regions as like in the small intestine. So let's identify the parts in the picture: mouth, esophagus, stomach, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. Various digestive glands are located in the lining of the various regions of the digestive tube. Example, gastric and intestinal gland. There are two large digestive glands, the liver and the pancreas, which are associated with this canal. There are three different salivary glands which are found in the oral cavity. So let's start with each and every organ in details. Starting with the mouth. Mouth is a special organ for the ingestion of food. The mouth, also called as oral cavity, is a space where the food is chewed and mixed with saliva. In the mouth, we contain teeth, tongue, and three pairs of salivary glands. Teeth, which plays a very important and special role, they cut and break the food into smaller pieces. These smaller sized bits have a relatively larger surface area for the enzymes to act on for better digestion. In our mouth, we are having four types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. A normal adult person has 32 teeth in the mouth. Tongue is a muscular, sensory, movable, flat-like structure which is attached posteriorly over the lower jaw. Tongue bears the taste buds for tasting the quality of the food. It moves the food in the buccal cavity for crushing under teeth, mixing with saliva, and pushing the food during swallowing. Next comes the salivary glands. There are three pairs of salivary glands in our mouth. Parotid gland, which is just located in front of and beneath each ear. Next, submandibular gland, which is lying close to the inner side of the lower jaw on each side. And last, sublingual gland, which is located below the tongue. From these three salivary glands, saliva is being secreted in small quantities. Normally, we produce 1 to 1.5 liter of saliva every day. Once the food is inside the mouth, it moistens and lubricates the food and helps the food particles to stick together to form a bolus so that they can be swallowed in a mass. Saliva contains enzyme salivary amylase or ptyalin, which converts starch into maltose. Then the bolus is passed from the pharynx to the stomach through a 25 cm long tube called esophagus, which does not contain any digestive juice. As the bolus reaches the surrounding esophageal tissue, it senses it and a special wave-like constriction is triggered by the circular muscles of the gut called peristalsis, which passes the food into the stomach. Cardiac sphincter, also known as lower esophageal sphincter. This sphincter is a specialized valve found between esophagus and stomach. This prevents the backflow of food and digestive enzymes back into the esophagus. Now the food has entered the stomach, which is an elastic bag. Its walls are highly muscular and churn the food thoroughly to mix with the gastric juice, which is being secreted from the inner lining. This gastric juice is colorless, highly acidic liquid containing water, some salts, hydrochloric acid, and an enzyme called pepsin. Hydrochloric acid serves the two main functions, that is to kill the germs whichever has entered along with the food, and it also activates pepsin from pepsinogen to act on proteins. This pepsin digests proteins into peptides. We can also have a look of the enzyme renin here. Mucus is also being secreted here. If not, hydrochloric acid would cause the erosion of the inner lining of the stomach, leading to the formation of ulcers in the stomach. Food stays in the stomach for about 3 hours and attains a pulp-like form called the chyme. The chyme passes in small amounts into duodenum part of small intestine through a pyrolytic valve which is present at the end of the stomach and guarded by a sphincter. Now the food reached to the small intestine, which is the longest part of the alimentary canal. Small intestine is known so because it is narrower as compared to the large intestine. It is longer in herbivores and shorter in carnivores. The two major functions of small intestine is a complete digestion and absorption. It also receives the two digestive juices, the bile and the pancreatic juice in the duodenum part, and its walls secrete the intestinal juice in the ileum. What is bile? Bile is a yellowish green and watery fluid produced in the liver. The bile may flow directly into the duodenum or, as it generally happens, gets temporarily stored in the gallbladder. The color of the bile is due to certain pigments like bilirubin and biliverdin. Bile contains a lot of sodium bicarbonate which neutralizes the acid content of the food received from the stomach and makes it alkaline to enable the pancreatic and the intestinal enzymes to act upon it. Bile salts reduce the surface tension of the fat and break down into tiny droplets, which we say as emulsification, for providing greater surface area for the action of the enzymes. Now we will be having a look about the pancreatic juice, which is produced from the gland pancreas located behind the stomach. The pancreatic duct opens into the duodenum by an aperture common to that of the bile duct. The pancreatic juice contains three kinds of enzymes: amylopsin or pancreatic amylase, which helps to digest the leftover starch into maltose; trypsin, which is first secreted as an inactive form of trypsinogen and then gets activated to trypsin by an enzyme called enterokinase, which is secreted from the inner lining of the duodenum. This helps to break down the proteins and polypeptides into smaller peptides and amino acids. Then comes stepsin, which is acting on the emulsified fats to split into fatty acid and glycerol. Briefly, we can see the role of the pancreatic enzymes here. Jejunum is the middle coiled part of the small intestine, which has abundant number of digestive glands producing the major part of the intestinal juice. Here we can see the enzymes of the intestinal juice which helps in completing the digestion, as like we are having here sucrase, maltase, lactase, lipase and peptidase. Jejunum is the seat of the maximum digestion. Complete digestion of the food takes place in the small intestine. Now the final products of the food are mainly absorbed in the intestine itself by the inner lining of the ileum, which is having a great number of tiny finger-like projection called villi. This villi enormously increases the inner surface area of the intestine, which facilitates the absorption of the digested food. Larger the surface area, more the absorption can take place. The epithelial cell of this lining has number of microvilli, which further increases the surface area for absorption. Each villi has a good blood supply called blood capillary, and there is another structure in each villus called lacteal. Small molecules like fatty acid, glycerol, glucose, amino acid can pass through it, but large molecules are unable to pass through it. The food molecules are transferred from the central space of the intestine into the villi. Sugar and amino acid pass into the blood capillaries, whereas fatty acid and glycerol pass into the lacteal of the villi. These molecules move by the diffusion process, that is moving from a higher concentration to a lower concentration, as you can see here. Till now we have observed the three steps of digestion, that is ingestion, digestion and absorption. Now comes the next step, that is assimilation, which means the movement of the digested food molecules into the cells of the body, where they are used to produce energy, which is used for the growth and repair of the body. The energy is released by the oxidation of the assimilated food in the cells during respiration. The distal part of the alimentary canal is large intestine, which is 1.5 to 1.8 meter long and 4 to 6 centimeter in diameter. It receives a semi-fluid mixture of undigested matter, mucus and water. Large intestine does not contain any digestive glands. It is specialized to absorb water from the slurry of the undigested matter to form a semi-solid fecal matter. Bacteria present in the large intestine produce vitamins K and B, which are absorbed here. Large intestine are having the three parts: cecum, colon and rectum. Cecum is a pouch-like structure, as you can see, of the large intestine is located at the junction of small and large intestine. Veriform appendix is a finger-like structure which is arising from the blind end of the cecum and is vestigial or non-functional organ in humans. With evolution, human beings have started to eat the soft cooked food instead of plant raw material which is made up of cellulose. The major portion of large intestine is made up of colon. It is having the four parts, as you can see here. The major function of this part is to remove water and some nutrients as well as the electrolytes from the partially digested food. The remaining material, solid waste called stool or poop, moves through the colon and gets stored in the dectum, which is the last part of the large intestine, much broader than the colon, and leaves the body through an opening called anus, which is guarded by an anal sphincter. Rectum absorbs the excess water and holds it until it's full. When the nerve triggers, it has an urge to defecate. This process is known as egestion. So this was a brief discussion about the human digestive system. Hope you can identify the parts and state its function. Please do subscribe my channel for more such videos. Don't forget to like and share my videos. If there is any query, please do write in the comment section. I will surely reply to it. Till then, goodbye and enjoy with Science Circle.